Hey everybody, welcome back to some more early morning barking, talking about BPD and NPD by somebody that has both. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on all the socially places and share things and do all that stuff. So today's a bit of a different video for me because normally I talk about things from my own perspective and my own experiences, and there's not really much anyone can say about that. This is just things as they pertain to me. But today I want to talk about something else that I've been seeing a lot of online, and it just sort of bugs me a bit. And I kind of feel the need to distinguish between narcissism and NPD and address all these things I see about people asking, am I a narcissist? And that kind of thing online. So if you are someone who is already diagnosed with NPD, I admit this video might have little interest for you, but hey, stick with me, you might find something out. I don't know. So before I really get started, what I need to make sure that you know very clearly without a shadow of a doubt is that I am not in any way a medical professional at all. I am just an interested person on the internet with a camera and a microphone, and if you feel that you are in any way affected by any of the things I'm about to discuss, please go and see somebody who is properly qualified to talk to you about the things that I'm about to discuss. Okay? I'm just somebody who has these things. I am no expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor or a psychotherapist. I don't know anything really more about it than is available online. And even then, I might get some things wrong because I do that from time to time. So there's just a little bit of a pre-warning, just so I feel better about myself. I don't want you taking proper medical advice from me. Okay? Just don't do that. So I've got a few notes. I'm going to be reading from my phone from time to time, so apologies if I don't look at you and that kind of thing. So then, narcissism and/or NPD. Which do you have? What is what? All that kind of thing. Now, I have a visual aid for this one, so get ready for this. Are you ready? This is special effects. Boom. That level of impressedness that you're feeling now is probably quite similar to how we all felt when we first saw Jurassic Park for the first time, or maybe even when we first heard the word impressedness. It's exciting, isn't it? So, this is actually a live view of my microphone VU meter as I speak to you. This is the volume of my voice, and maybe you can see it going up and down. Hopefully you can see it going up and down, or there was really no point to this. So what you can see here is a big green area, followed by a little bit of a warning yellow area where my voice tends to come to, and then a bit of a red area right at the end where my voice doesn't go all the way because there's a limiter on it, but you can see that the red bit is there. Now, for the purposes of this video, rather than illustrating the volume of my voice, let's assume that this meter represents general narcissism. Okay? We all need a little bit of narcissism in our lives. We all need this level of self-confidence and self-belief and self-worth so that we can function at all. And we all have this little VU meter in our lives of narcissism. And it can vary between being grandiose narcissism and vulnerable narcissism. And we can switch between the two of those in different ways at different times, depending on the situation that we're in. But And incidentally, we'll go into the differences between grandiose and vulnerable narcissism in another video. Try not to worry about that for now. It's not really relevant to this. So if you imagine that on a day-to-day basis, everybody's life and everything they do in that life is moving this meter up and down all the time, minute to minute, second to second, whatever. And most people, most healthy neurotypical people, spend their entire lives in the green. It goes up and down, it might occasionally reach the yellow, but most healthy, happy people live in the green. From time to time, we might go a little bit further than that into really bad narcissism. You might get somebody that does something fairly horrific and we go, that person's a narcissist. That's such a narcissistic thing to do. But there's a difference between doing something narcissistic and being a narcissist. You see, we're all making this VU meter go up and down all the time. So this green area, this represents, I don't know, I can definitely get that job. My butt looks great in these jeans. All that kind of thing. General self-confidence stuff. Whereas the yellow starts to represent things like, get me the manager, you've lost me as a customer. That kind of bullshit that people put out. You can move this up and down, and you can go as far as to being in the red. But as long as you're coming back down to the green again, that's fine. That actually is... It's only fine from a, am I a narcissist, do I have NPD point of view. If you go up into the yellow or the red, you're probably being a dick to somebody in some sort of way. But I'm very sorry that the claim of being a narcissist doesn't really mean anything and doesn't really excuse that behavior. You can jump all the way up into the red and not have NPD or narcissism, whatever we think that is, because there's no actual narcissism as such. There's just this scale and we're all somewhere on it and it's a different point at different times of the day. However, you might be somebody that actually has narcissistic personality disorder. And you might be somebody that not only gets up into the yellow or the red all the time, but you stay there in the yellow or the red. That's NPD. That's clinical narcissism right there. Now, this is where I read from my phone just to double check a couple of things. There are 9 markers of NPD. You only need 5 of them to be classed as having NPD. And that's a grandiose sense of self-importance, preoccupation with fantasies of power, belief of being special, need for excessive admiration, sense of entitlement, interpersonally exploitative behavior, a lack of empathy, envy of others and belief that others are envious of us, and arrogant and haughty behavior. That's all these things up here in the yellow or the red. And you need 5 of them to be classed as having NPD. Now, you might have 4 of them. You might be peeking up into the red on your self-importance and your fantasies of power and believing you're special and needing admiration. And that might be it. You might only have 1 marker and be pushing that marker all the way up into the red day after day after day, whereas somebody with all 5 or even all 9 might be sat just below you in the yellow. So you can actually not have NPD, not be a narcissist, and still behave more narcissistically than somebody who actually has NPD. Fun, isn't it? And so I kept getting confused over all these people. Am I a narcissist? No. No, very few people are actually a narcissist. We're talking about people who have clinical narcissistic traits. There's clinical and subclinical. The subclinical would be the ones that aren't really worth treating, the people in the green area and perhaps maybe the lower end of the yellow. And then you have the clinical, which is in the, if I don't get treatment, I'm going to fuck up some people's lives seriously kind of area. And that's where we live with NPD. So when you're asking the question, do I have NPD? You need to be somebody who is peaking this meter up into the yellow and the red all the time, without exception. Not just flickering around with a bit of background noise and eventually getting too close to the microphone from time to time. We don't all have the same traits. We don't all behave in the same way. We're looking at a situation where you have to have 5 markers out of 9. And we're not specifying which 5. There's not an order that these appear in. You could have any combination of 5 out of the 9. You could have 6 out of the 9, 7, 8, or you could have all 9. There are so many different combinations of having NPD. It's crazy. So when I see people go on Reddit or other places and say things like, I just did this, do I have NPD? That's not what we're looking for. You might have just done something that could be described as a very narcissistic thing to do. That doesn't mean that you are a narcissist or that you have a personality disorder or that you are in any way not responsible for the shitty thing you just did. You have to take responsibility for these things, even if you're somebody who sits up in the yellow and the red and has NPD. We're still doing this. We're still responsible for our actions. If you've made it as far as looking for a video on this, the good news is there's probably something you could do about it. If you can question yourself and ask, do I have NPD? Then you're starting to break through, because of course the biggest barrier to treatment of NPD is the belief that we're perfect as we are and don't need any treatment. I'm going to turn off the T-Rex now. That's the problem. That's what we're facing. Do I have a thing? No, I don't have a thing. No treatment necessary. But keep an eye on things. Keep an eye on yourself. If you think you've done something, write it down, make a note of it. Keep a date and time record. Because for NPD, we're looking for people who stay in the yellow and the red, not people who just visit there on holiday. If you're staying there, if this is a repeated pattern of behavior over a period of time, then maybe you have NPD. I don't know. Again, like I said at the beginning, go and consult an actual medical professional. But all I'm telling you really is that rather than a brief little stint at being narcissistic, NPD is living there. And you don't want that. You don't want that to be a thing. So try not to sort of look for it as an excuse to get over things that you've done. Because it's difficult enough having this. There's not much information online that is, I hesitate to use the word positive, but not critical of people with NPD. Even when you're looking for help, it's all about help for people that have suffered our effects. And so to allow us to sort of pile on anybody that does anything remotely narcissistic at any point in their lives just really makes things more difficult for us to find stuff that we need, for us to contact people that we need to talk to, for us to be able to talk about these feelings and experiences that we're having, because we're crowded with people who aren't actually having the same experience or even a remotely similar experience. I understand it's complicated and maybe I've not done the best job of explaining it. I'm going to be quite pleased with myself and think I did quite a good job because, hey, I have NPD. That's how these things work. If you want to talk about any of this down below in the comments, please do. If you need to correct me on anything I've said, also please do. Like, I'm not an expert. I'm prepared to be wrong on things and correct myself and all that kind of thing. I hope this has been in some way useful for you. So you take care and I'll see you on another video. See you later. Bye.